Let's take the discussion forward with Godrej International. Mr. Dorab Mistry is now joining us to talk more about what's happening in the palm oil part of the business. Mr. Mistry, morning. Thanks so much for your time. Now, what we are understanding is that palm oil imports are, the outlook over there has improved here for India, especially ahead of festivities. The demands, tends to go higher. Talk to us about how things are shaping up right now, supplies versus demand scenario.
Well, India, as you know, is the world's largest importer of palm oil, and our whole cooking oil economy is based on palm oil imported from Malaysia and Indonesia. The supply and demand are fairly in balance, prices are reasonable, and at the moment, there is no sense of crisis or urgency in the market. India's imports are high, and they will continue to be high because of our very high import dependency. A few months ago, palm oil imports were rather low, and this slack was made up by higher imports of soybean oil and sunflower oil. Now, gradually, palm oil is coming back into its own. And I think over the whole year, the oil year, which finishes in October, we will import about 9 million tons of palm oil, which is roughly about 10% of the world's output. So we have a very dominant share of world trade. But these imports are keeping a lid on inflation in India. That is very important.
So that's exactly, Mr. Mistry, what I wanted to talk about next, because what we understand is that palm oil prices have been trading at a discount to soybean as well as sunflower. Give us the trend that you foresee for the next foreseeable future.
Yes, this is always a seesaw between which oil is the most competitive. And palm oil had become uncompetitive in the first 6 months from, say, November to April. And this was because sunflower oil, which is normally a premium oil and the most expensive oil in terms of import, became the cheapest oil. Why did this happen? Because of the war in the Black Sea region and the absolute crash in the currencies of Ukraine as well as the Russian ruble. And they were dumping and sending oil mainly to India, even around the Cape of Good Hope when the Red Sea closed, because the farmers, the crushers wanted to convert their agricultural commodity into dollars. So sun oil became the cheapest oil, and as a result, palm oil imports in India began to flag. But now we are at the end of the season. The new sunseed crop will be harvested in August, will be crushed in September, and the oil will be available from October. So at the end of this season, sun oil prices have gone to a premium, soya oil has followed, and palm has become competitive once again. So because palm is competitive, India's imports of palm are picking up. This is a seesaw, very normal, nothing to be worried about.
Right. So, also from the side of, from the perspective that palm oil accounts for 20 to 25% of many of the leading companies here in India from the consumer space, what you're essentially saying is that right now the pricing scenario is in balance because demand and supplies are matching up to each other. But what's the outlook 6 months far out? Do you see any
6 months
disruption?
far out, it will be the same outlook.
Okay.
Because fortunately, the northern hemisphere growing season in India, you have the monsoon. North America also has its planting season just started. The European oilseed season is just coming to a close, and harvest will start in August. All over the northern hemisphere, weather has been benign. This year, for a change, compared to the previous 3 years, weather has been consistently good. The last few days, we are told by the weather forecasters that even the expected La Nina is not going to happen. So, because of good growing conditions, we expect good crops following on from the bumper soybean crop in South America a few months ago. So, there is no problem on supply, and demand is not great, nothing much to speak about. So, I expect that prices will be steady. They won't decline, but they will also not rise. And provided the Indian government doesn't lose its nerve, the government has done a good job so far. They have not touched import duties, despite all the lobbying from various directions. The government has been astute. Their tried and tested policy of protecting the urban consumer has paid off, has held, and is being continued. So if that happens, and remember, India is the largest importer in the world, we affect prices. If we remain consistent, if we hold our nerve, I think the FMCG industry is on velvet. Because,
Okay.
and I say this being part of FMCG myself, I must disclose to you that I am part of the Godrej organization. GCPL is a big player, but we are fine in terms of palm oil raw material, no
Right.
problem at all.
Right. No, we really appreciated that you're bringing it back on the table by mentioning it. That's the insider's view, but more so, we got you as an industry expert view to be taken in the discussion. Thanks so much, Dorab, for your inputs today.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.